Howdy everyone, this is LockNutz, and you're watching a map tour of Erlengrat of FS22. Hopefully you'll stick around to see what happens. Howdy, 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 how are you guys doing today? Oh my goodness, I tell you what, we are going to do a map tour here of Erlengrat, one of 3 starter maps on FS22. And I tell you what, this one is a doozy of a map. So, get off our bench there, walk on out and take a peek. So what we ended up doing is I started this gameplay off on New Farmer mode. Now on New Farmer mode, you start off with $100,000. If you were to go ahead and start this game off on Farmer Manager mode, you would start off with $1.5 million. And if you started on Start from Scratch, you'd start off with $500,000 in the bank, and you would also have a loan of $200,000. So in all reality on that one, cash to your name without a loan, it all equals out to having about $300,000, and that's it. If you'll notice, I do have a substantial amount of money more. What I did is I did the government subsidy mod so I could go ahead, earn enough cash here to be able to demonstrate some stuff for you. With that being said, what do we start off with other than this great house and an absolutely stunning view? What do you start off with on New Farmer mode? Well, let's look at the equipment that you actually start with. We'll take a look at that first. And you start off with tractors here. You start off with a Linder, a Rigitrack, and a Burr. That's not that bad of a setup. Now this guy right here, this is one of those electric tractors, so you got to make sure you have special stuff on site to accommodate for that. You need to have a charger somewhere, somehow, to make that happen. So be careful with that off the bat. So if you run out of juice, don't try and fill it up with fuel. It's not going to work out too well. Alright, so let's back that up. You start off with one mower. You start off with a pickup truck right here. It's blue. It's fabulous. I tell you what, you're going to love it. Let's see. You also start off with just one trailer. One plow. Not a large plow, only 1.2 meter working width, so it's enough to get yourself started. A mowing deck. A tedder. A windrower. A forage wagon right here, a baler, a bale lifter picker-upper thingy, bale loader, I apologize. You have 2 different trailers. Now you have one, the Aquatrans right here, which only hauls around water, and then you have this other guy, the MKS-8, which hauls around water, milk, liquid fertilizer, and it also takes care of herbicide. I was drawing a blank on that. I apologize. You also start off with a front loader. The front loader tools, you start off with a universal bucket and bale spike. So as you can tell already, you are set up and ready to go for some sort of foraging, cutting grass, fertilizer, or not fertilizer, cutting grass, gathering your loose stuff, and going from there. And then you start off with one weight. So I do apologize if for some reason I'm saying something and talking about it and my mouse isn't exactly where it needs to go. Just bear with me. I'll try and explain everything the best I can. Alright, so that's that. Let's take a look at the land you start off with on New Farmer mode. Let's really zoom this thing out for us right here. And we end up starting off with just this one plot of land right here. And as you come in, we'll get that off of there. You can see that that includes a grass field on the south side of it and a grass field on the north side of it. On top of that, you do have a nice little farmyard right there. Let's get back on here. So what are we looking at for different types of fields? What's going on? What is on the map for you to buy? Well, the largest map, I mean, for the most part, all of these fields are relatively they're not a wide variety of field sizes. So everything's pretty close to the same price. Starting off with field 14, that is going to be the largest field that you can buy. That's a pre-made field is what we're talking about here. The largest field is field 14 right there, and that is $304,340. So not terrible, not the most expensive thing that you're going to find out there, but it is there. Now, if you come over to field 21 right there, that is actually going to be the smallest field that you can actually buy on this game. And that comes in at a price at $92,340. Now, that is just for the fields, the pre-made fields. Now, if you go ahead and take a look at the outside spaces here, you actually have quite a few different, very odd shapes of different areas you can buy. And this area right here, that one right there, this is the most expensive one that you can get at $674,220. Now, I've taken a trip up there and I've looked at that, and we'll stop there on our way. And honestly, I think the only reason why it is that expensive, it's not the biggest plot of land, but I think it's the most expensive because I'd have to say it has the best view on the whole map. Oh, I tell you what. And then up here you do have other chunks of land that you can buy around the starter farm. So I mean, there are things to go ahead and get here to keep yourself busy. Now, as for starting farms, this is the only starting farm that is available to you on the map. Other maps you might potentially have different little starting farms. It might not be the main starting farm that you get, but there are other starting farms other ways. This map does not have that. This is pretty much the only place to go. But before we go ahead and start jumping around and looking at a couple other things, the BGA is actually located right over here. We'll stop over there in just a second after we take a look at our animals, and then we'll go ahead and get over to there. Now, on this map, you do start out with some animals right here, and let's head on over here. You start out with 15 cows. Now, that is the maximum amount of cows that you can actually have on this particular, not map, but in this particular stable that you have for the cows. And you start off with 10 Holsteins and 5 Brown Swiss. Both of those, according to the new Farm Sim standard that they have out there, are both cows mainly for dairy. So you will have to be able to get used to dealing with dairy cows unless you just want to sell them all. Choice is completely up to you on what you decide to do. We'll just keep walking around the main farm right here. As you can see, you do have some storage for your vehicles that are right in here. So you have that working out for you. Head on over here. We do have I believe that's a water tank. You start off with a slurry pit over there. You have a nice little bunker silo that's right in there for making silage. There is your charging station, so make sure you fill that electric tractor up with a little bit of electricity instead of diesel, because that's not going to work out too well for you. And you have yourself a silo. Oh, good times. Now, over here, I just want to point this out. Over here, one thing that you do end up having with this, this is labeled a medium petrol tank. In order to go ahead and get fuel out of there, if you don't want to go into town, you just come around the back side. You indicate that you want to buy that. You actually buy it in bulk, and it will be delivered to you. So we'll go ahead and do that. And now, as you can see in this tank, this medium petrol tank, we have 10,000 liters of diesel. So instead of having to run off to town and come back, run off to town and come back, you have the grace of that right there. You also have a little vehicle repair shop right here. Doors don't open, so you just come on up right in front of this and make a go at it. But that's kind of what we got for the farm, to be honest with you. With that being said, now, like I said, there is a BGA on this map, and if you are starting off with all of that stuff to cut grass, to make bales, make not necessarily silage, but to make bales, that's going to be one thing of interest. So what we're going to do here really quick is we're going to come over here and take a look at this. Now with FS19 compared to FS22, instead of actually buying the biogas plant, the entire lot, it's underneath the productions menu. So we're actually going to come over here and visit this location. Now at this BGA, this is where we'll be coming in. The little trigger to go ahead and buy it is actually tucked around the back side here. And this particular BGA costs you $479,979. Now, you might be telling yourself, oops, shoot, we actually want to hop on that really quick. You might be telling yourself, well, gosh, that's a lot more than what we used to seeing on FS19, but you also get more out of these BGAs. And what do I mean by that? When you come over here and you take a look at your production menu, you'll see that this particular BGA takes silage, slurry, manure, and sugar beets that have been cut up. You get an output of digestate. You also get an output of methane and electricity, which is going to be absolutely phenomenal for you if you want to start rocking and rolling with some of the green energy here. We do have the electric tractor in our inventory, so that is one thing to do, to go ahead and look for that. It'll supply you with a little extra juice. Alright, so with that being said, I am going to actually tab over back to the farm. And before we get rocking and rolling, let's go ahead and take one quick look at all the production items that you can get on this map. Alright, so, shoot, that's not what I wanted. And let's see here, get this set up. So on this map, we are already at the BGA. Now let's go ahead and take a look and see what else is available to us. We have the Kaiserie Erlengrat, which is a cheese place. So for dairy and whatnot, that's going to be one of the locations. You have the mill, which is going to take your grains. The Lichete chocolatier. I know chocolatier. The other word I'm not so clear on. That's where you can go ahead and take your sweets. And you have the sawmill. Take a quick little peek because I want to say there was one more, but I think I'm getting that confused with something else. And yes, so productions wise, those are the ones that are already on the map. Now, if you want to add production products onto this map, production functions, if you come in here to construction, they will have a whole list of factories, selling points, and miscellaneous bits and pieces that you can go ahead and put down if you really want to. So with that being said, we kind of went over all the really boring bits and pieces. Let's hop in our fancy truck with our helmet on, because you know what? We just want to be safe about everything that we're doing. And let's cruise around the map. Now, what I'm going to go ahead and do, I don't know if you guys mind this or whatnot, but I like to have the little map up in the corner so that you guys can kind of follow around where I'm at on the map, where I'm going, and what I'm doing. And also, with that being said, I'm going to warn you right now, I like to drive through the fields. It may bother some people, but I think it's one of the ways that you can really get a good look at what the landscape actually looks like. So, right off the bat, the field that's directly south of your farm, it's flat on the bottom, but if you want to take care of anything on that hill, be prepared. It's going to be a bit of a challenge. And as you can guess by the mountainous landscape, there's a couple hills. Yes, there are a couple hills here. So even just driving around, navigating around on this, I'm already noticing that there's a little bit of a struggle for the vehicle here and there. This is that northern chunk of grass field that you got, and there is a fence dividing your land from the land just north of this. So just looking at this, anything that you guys can do, you're going to have to remember that you're going to end up running into a lot of different scenarios where you're going to need to really think about what you got to do. Now we're going to come up here and take a look at some of this before we hobble on down to the actual fields. But if you take a look at this, most of your harvesters that you're going to have, most of your plows, most of your tools, most of your implements, you're going to probably end up needing to overcompensate for the power that you're going to need. You can go ahead and get an implement that, let's say, needs 150 horsepower. Well, because of the hills here, you're really going to want to open up your eyes and maybe potentially look at getting something horsepower-wise to pull that's a little bit beefier. Maybe looking at going at least 50, 60 horsepower over what the tool requires just because of the landscape. Now that's up here. Once you get farther down here in the valley where a lot of the fields are, you're going to find out that the land is actually pretty flat. Yeah, so you can see right here, this field over here, these are the northern fields we got. They're pretty darn flat. You're really not going to have much issues, or I should say many issues, out and about over here. At this location, these locations, you can, if that same implement that you have requires 150 horsepower, you can get away with 150 horsepower easy. You're not going to run into any implements or any disasters, any problems, anything like that. And I think for a second here I might be going the wrong way. Last thing I need is to be hit by a train again. It's not fun. It's not fun at all. So we're going to come over here and take a look at, like I said, a couple of these outer edge fields before we work our way into town. So like I said here, you do have all these fields over on the edge here in the very lowest parts of the valley, and they're all pretty darn flat. Now this location over here is the animal dealer, so this is where you're going to go ahead and pick up your animals, or go ahead and sell those cows off if you want to. Maybe change them out for beef cattle or whatnot, or maybe even if they get old, you'll have to go ahead and swap them out for younger, more robust cattle. Oh man, so here we go ahead and cross the river, which is absolutely beautiful. And as you work your way around here, here is one of the gas stations. I believe there's 2 gas stations in here, or petrol stations, depending on what you prefer to hear. But let's go ahead and wrap ourselves around here. And I tell you what, one of the vast improvements that I would have to say about FS22 in comparison to 19. I'm going to try and not do too many of those because this is a map tour of FS22 maps, not 19 maps. But just taking a look at the background up there, that is a lot of detail for something that's just off in the middle of nowhere and you're never ever going to reach. Hats off. Definitely hats off. So as we kind of go ahead and continue our way around here, oh, there we go. There's the road. I apologize. I thought the road was a little bit farther down. We'll go ahead and we'll cut across this and we'll take a peek. Now, one of the things that you can do on these maps, if you really want to, if you want to use the train, if you want to be able to use the cars, unlike 19, again, I'm sorry about that, making comparisons, but unlike 19, you actually have to pay for those trains instead of just getting it automatically if it's on the map. So that's something you want to keep your mind on. So as we come into the very edge of town, we are actually running into the mill. And this mill is one of the places where you can go ahead, take your grains to create flour. But you can only do that if you go ahead and buy that facility right there. And just the opposite side, we have a lime station. So instead of going ahead and buying all those bags of lime from the store, you can hop on over here and just get it in bulk. So that's one thing you're going to want to keep your eyes on. Now, looking at machinery, that you're going to be buying, looking at the things that you're going to need to get for town. Um, you're you're going to want to kind of pay attention and really plan a way out of town, because even though the streets are fairly wide-ish, you're probably going to have to watch out. You're definitely going to need a header trailer if you get a large enough um, harvester. Now, I'm going to set that guy right there for a minute. We'll see if this works, because I want to demonstrate the reset. Okay, so the reset is right here at the shop, and this is the shop location in the town. So this is where things are going to pop up for you if you need to hit the reset button, which I, unfortunately, due to very poor choices on my own, have had to do that. So let's keep wandering around the town here. This town is full of roundabouts. They're not very large trailer friendly roundabouts. So if you are getting something like that, coming into town here might not be the best of options. Oh, jeepers. Oh, gosh. Oh, boy, that was scary. Yeah, let's just keep that one under our hats, if we will. Oh, man. So as you can kind of see here, the roads, even though they fit this vehicle through, you got to watch out, because, like I said, they're not very wide by any means. They're relatively narrow, and you're going to want to really just pay attention on how you can get out of town. Just find the fastest route and go. Don't dilly-dally around. Really invest in a header trailer. They have been upgraded a ton since 19, so if you're afraid of them, definitely go ahead and take a peek at them now. They're much more user-friendly. So we're going to come out of town here. There are a couple fields on the other side of the river, but they are exactly like the ones that we just looked at, where because they're in the valley, they're very flat. They have a little bit of a hill to them here and there, but that's about it. Now, shoot. Depending on what your play style is, like I said at the beginning of this, there is only one starting farm on this map, and that's it. But there's a lot of open spaces for you to create whatever that you want. As a matter of fact, that's what I'm doing on one of my saves right now, is I am going around and I started my farm, and I'm going to build it up from scratch on one of these bits and pieces of land that has absolutely nothing, so I can create it however I want to create it. And if we're going by that thought process, there are limitless starting points that you can absolutely have on this map. So really, to kind of show you the immenseness of this landscape, as you can see, this truck right here has 200 horsepower, and it's kind of struggling to get up the hill. The variations in elevation are just absolutely fabulous. Sorry about that, car. Absolutely fabulous. So where, if you were to pick one of those fields down there at the bottom of the valley, yes, it's going to be very flat. You can make a very good go at it. But if you don't like the regular shapes of all those fields, all the square fields that are out there, and you want to build something out on your own, you're going to have some horsepower behind that in order to pull your tractors, or pull the plows, pull the seeders, get the harvesters up and down the hills. Maybe you're baling. Whatever it is that you're doing, you're going to need extra beef underneath the hood or the bonnet of whatever it is that you're out in the fields rocking and rolling with, because it is just, it's absolutely crazy. It's absolutely crazy, the changing of elevations once you get up out of the very base of the valley. So we'll come over here really quick. As like I said, I mean, you do have flat spots out here. Maybe like this area right here, you could go ahead and create your, well, you could either have your farm right there, a couple fields, or your yard. It's entirely up to you on what you want to do. This map here in particular, I would say out of the three starter maps that you start with, gives you the biggest blank slate out of all three of them for getting to decide what you want to do, making a go at it of however you want to go and farm. This map here out of the three, like I said, has the biggest potential out of all of them. And another thing that you're going to want to pay attention to when you're out here, if you're up on the hills, baling grass, making hay, doing round bales of any sort, you're going to want to keep an eye on those bales. Oh, I can drive through those. I wish I would have known that. Ah, shoot. Well, I'm going to drive through it now that I know. Oh, man, I tell you what, guys. Watch out where those bales are going to go, because they will roll. Ooh, there's a river right there. Watch out for the bales. They will roll. They will get away from you. And fortunately or unfortunately, however you want to look at it, the traffic will stop for those bales. And if you don't mind all the honking and everything like that, you'll do absolutely fine. So what we're going to do here is we're going to wander over here to the docks where, as of right now, there isn't much you can do over here, and you cannot buy this chunk of land at all. But I tell you what, this is a great place for us to go ahead and end this map tour. If you guys are liking what you're seeing, if you are loving what you're hearing, go ahead and just smash that like button, hit the subscription. It really helps the channel out. Go ahead and turn the notification bell on, have it set to all so you know when other things are going to be coming out, whether it's map tours, mod reviews, or even gameplays. Go check them out. Oh my goodness, take and share this with somebody who's really thinking about FS22. This is one of 3 starter maps that you have the potential of working on. Oh my gosh, I tell you what, guys, it's been fun, it's been real. This is another one excellent map. But don't take my word for it. Go and download it for yourself. Or at least just get the game, because this is one of the base ones. Oh man, I'm so excited. Let's get this going, and I tell you what, guys, thanks for stopping by.